Every aspect of your life will be impacted by the choice you choose. Your serenity, your vocation, your religion, and even your connection to God. This is not a financial choice. It's not a decision for a profession. It is the individual you decide to wed. I also want to show you something today that many people discover too late. Not every person who wants to wed you has been sent by God. Not everyone who evokes strong emotions in you is the proper person. There are indicators. There are trends. Before you say, "I do," the Bible clearly warns you that this person is not the right one. We're going to discuss 7 things today that should lead you to stop praying and think twice, since a bad marriage does more than simply break your heart. It can cause you to lose your peace, postpone your purpose, and change the path God has planned for you. Marriage is not treated lightly in the Bible. It was made with a purpose and intention by God. Proverbs 18:22 states, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord." However, not everyone who presents themselves as an as-partner is truly a good thing. Believers, we are not called to marry out of loneliness, pressure, or fear that time is running out. It is our duty to get married wisely. Knowing what to look for and what to avoid is the first step in exercising that discernment. One should never wed a person who disobeys God's authority. When emotions are involved, this is the most crucial sign of all, and the one that most people ignore. I distinctly recall having a conversation with a young woman who was somewhat perplexed. For 2 years, she had been in a relationship. On the surface, everything seemed ideal, and he was attractive and giving. However, he always had an excuse when she mentioned going to church together. He always gave her a courteous grin while shifting the topic whenever she talked about her faith. "I believe in God in my own way," he answered each time she questioned him about his relationship with God. That is a warning, not a weakness. Corinthians 6:14 is quite straightforward. Don't treat unbelievers unfairly. What kind of alliance combines lawlessness and righteousness? Or what kind of friendship combines darkness and light? Animals are guided in the same direction with a yoke. You will be pulling in opposing directions for the duration of your marriage if you are growing toward God and your spouse is drifting away from Him. There will be more than just religious conflict. It is going to every day. It will be evident in your decision-making, crisis management, parenting style, and sense of purpose. If someone views God as optional, don't marry them, because everything placed on top of God will eventually shake if God is not the foundation. Secondly, never marry someone who has never accepted responsibility for their own conduct. This one is modest, but it tells you everything about a person's personality. You will experience financial strain, bereavement, health issues, miscommunication, and truly trying times. And you'll need a companion who can say, "I was wrong. I'm sorry," in each of those situations. How can we work this out together? They won't be able to do it in marriage if they can't do it now, when their relationship is still easy. Proverbs 28:13, "Transgressions will not be committed by anyone who hides their words. Prosper, but mercy will be shown to the one who confesses and leaves them." Being humble is not a sign of weakness. It is the foundation of a strong marriage. Never give your life to someone who is incapable of owning up to their mistakes. 3. Never get married to someone who treats you disrespectfully. Anger is not the same as contempt. Everyone becomes enraged. However, disdain is much more harmful. It occurs when someone looks at you, the person they say they love, with derision, superiority, or silent loathing. When you speak, it's the eye roll, the caustic remarks uttered in public. Dismissing your emotions because you're overreacting or overly sensitive is a habit. John Gottman, the top contempt was found to be the single best indicator of divorce by a marriage researcher. However, the Bible forewarned us long before any researcher did. Ephesians exhorts ladies to honor their husbands and husbands to cherish their spouses. The two main cornerstones of marriage are love and respect. Love flies where disdain resides. If the individual you are thinking about, marriage makes you feel inadequate, foolish, or unworthy, even if they later call it a joke, that is not love. That is a relationship disguised as a hurt. Don't enter that house and claim it as your own. 4. Avoid being married to someone who controls you by isolating you. Some people start a relationship with a great deal of affection. They want to spend all of their time with you. They give you a lot of attention. Yet gradually, almost unnoticeably, your friendships start to fade. Your family seems far away. Every intimate connection you had prior to them has somehow turned into a point of contention. You eventually come to the realization that they are the only person in your life. I want to be completely straight with you. Isolation does not equate to love. Control is what it is.
Furthermore, control in a relationship is not a peculiarity of personality. It is a type of emotional and spiritual abuse. According to Proverbs 11:14, a people falls. However, there is safety where there is not an abundance of counselors. God intended for you to live in a community with people who can see what you cannot see on the inside, who pray with you, and who bring truth into your life. Instead of endangering your relationships, someone who loves you would celebrate them. Instead of pushing you into seclusion, they will support you in creating a healthy community. Someone is a kidnapper, not a partner, if they are gradually cutting you off from all voices save their own. Furthermore, God invited you to a covenant rather than a jail. 5. Never get married to someone whose private and public personas are entirely different. In public, we all present our best selves. That's typical. However, there is a boundary between a double life and natural presenting. When others are around, some people can be warm, kind, and compassionate. But when no one else is there, they can be harsh, frigid, or entirely different. When this person is exhausted, pay attention to who they are, or things don't go as planned, or the eatery receives the order incorrectly, when traffic is heavy, when they are irritated, or when they believe nobody is observing. Character is not a person's actions. Character is what a person falls back on when things go tough. According to Luke 16:10, one who is dishonest in a very little thing is also dishonest in much, and one who is faithful in a very little thing is also faithful in much. Marriage won't solve their dishonesty in minor matters. That dishonesty will just take center stage as a result. You should marry someone whose private life you value as much as their public one, because you will spend nearly all of your time in private after you are married. 6. Never get married to someone who doesn't want to change. Seeing someone you love choose to remain unchanged year after year is one of the most agonizing experiences in life. They reject responsibility, oppose any kind of discipline, and become defensive whenever someone indicates they should improve. You are not only together in happy times when you are married. The process of becoming is joined by you. And two individuals who are actively dedicated to growth are needed for that process. Spiritually, emotionally, and morally, God is a transformational God. Philippians 1:6 states, "And I am sure of this, that he who began a good work in you will bring it to completion at the day of Jesus Christ." He works with willing individuals, yet he is constantly refining and building. If the person you're thinking about doesn't want to be corrected, isn't receptive to, you are not looking at someone who will build with you. Rather, you are looking at someone who will oppose God's own work in your shared life if you have prayer, no desire to grow, and no willingness to be accountable to anyone. Avoid making a covenant with someone who is unwilling to change. 7. Never get married to someone who doesn't respect your vocation. Many people do not consider this last issue until it is too late.